Okay. And Kathy, if you could just confirm.
We are.
Hello, Secretary.
Sorry, I'm a few minutes late.
Not at all. We're just getting underway. So shall I turn over to Rena, and Carrie, could you post the agenda?
Perfect. Thanks, Carrie. All right. Welcome, everyone. Hope you are all well, and anyone who celebrated Mother's Day yesterday, hopefully you had a very nice day. Thanks for being available for this meeting. We have only 2 agenda items, but they are both quite meaty in terms of their content. So I do want to hand it over to Carrie and her team as soon as possible. We're going to talk about the changes to the budget as a result of implementation of the American Rescue Plan. And then we are going to move into executive session to talk about some things related to call center contract rights. So Carrie, do you need anything else from me before you get started?
I don't think so, Rena. Louis, would you like to kick it off, or shall we hand it to Audrey?
I think we'll hand it pretty directly to Audrey, except that this is, how would I say, an awfully good news item, though today we're discussing the implementation budget portion of it. But why not, Audrey, if you could kick us off?
Sure, thank you. Hi, everyone. Nice to see you all. So in the way of the American Rescue Plan budget, just to contextualize, I'll just share very briefly where we are with respect to implementation of this new law, which I know the board has been closely following and aware of. But just to briefly remind, this is a law that expanded advanced premium tax credits to individuals under 400% of the federal poverty level. So expanded those premium tax credits that we use to kind of build connector care and also provide premium subsidies for people up to 400%. So we actually were the first state in the country to plug into these new subsidy amounts, which we did on March 26th. And then through the month of April, we were doing automated batch updates to the rest of our subsidized membership to allow them immediate access to these expanded premium tax credits that lowered their premiums starting for their May coverage. So we've been really pleased with how smoothly that's been implemented. It has had really material impacts for our subsidized membership. Already for May coverage, there's been a 31% reduction in the premium contributions of our subsidized enrollees, with people saving on average of about $25 per month. So these hundreds of millions of dollars of new federal subsidies per year that are coming into the state now as a result of the ARP for 2021 and 2022 are already starting to yield dividends for our members. At our board meeting on Thursday, we'll kind of walk through even more of this, but you can see here on this slide what these average savings are looking like for people broken down by program type. So you can see here PT1, PT2A, these are the plan types for connector care. So moving up progressively the income scale towards 300% of the federal poverty level. We're seeing people saving now on average between 7% and 55% per month on their premiums as a result of these expanded premium tax credits. And then pretty material drops in terms of premium contributions for people between 300 and 400%. So that all started to roll out in April. We've been getting feedback from members about how impactful this is in terms of people's household budgets and their ability to afford coverage. So really exciting. So that's the under 400% of the federal poverty level population that's had their premium tax credits expanded. Above 400%, we are in the process of rolling out, and those individuals have now had the kind of cap of premium subsidies lifted on them. So now newly people in that over 400% of the federal poverty level population, that's someone earning over about $51,000 a year. Many of those individuals can now access premium tax credits if they qualify. we're finding that older individuals in the non-group market are among those that are the most likely to qualify for some of these new subsidies just because of the premium amounts they're charged because of age rating. But we're really excited now the system is in place to provide these new expanded subsidies as a result of the American Rescue Plan. So that's all in place. Our next kind of leg of implementation with respect to the American Rescue Plan is this new benefit afforded just for 2021 to people who are collecting unemployment income at any point during 2021. And the American Rescue Plan has exchanges treat those individuals as though their income were at 133% of the federal poverty level, which for all intents and purposes means they have access to at least one $0 premium plan. So for us, that translates to a connector care plan type 2A plan. So we are planning to have that in effect for July coverage, which is consistent with how the federal exchange is rolling that out in terms of timing. So we're in close touch with our colleagues at the Department of Unemployment Assistance in the hopes that they can help us communicate to people receiving UI during 2021, and they've been very collaborative and are prepared to help us communicate to that population to make sure they know about this new benefit. So I will pause there.
Yeah, thank you, Audrey. I wanted everyone to just get an overview of the ARP implications for the connector. What I'd like to do, Carrie, if we could, is go to the portion of the memo that has the budget asks that we're putting forward.
Louis,
Yes.
can you just also talk about what's the targeted population in these numbers? Like how many people we're we talking about as potential outreach to and the like?
Audrey, could you?
Yeah, our hope, our target is to be able to bring in around 25,000 new people. There's a wider universe of people, to be honest, that we think qualify for these subsidies. So we're really trying to aim as large as possible in terms of kind of casting a wide net to people who are existing uninsured. Right now in the Commonwealth, we think we have between 200 and 250,000 uninsured individuals. And we think about a quarter of people who are insured but buy their own coverage off exchange are newly eligible for subsidies to help pay for that coverage. So just in terms of what we think is sort of within reason to draw in this rapidly to coverage during this extended open enrollment period that we're running through late July, our target is about 25,000, but we're hoping to communicate to as many people as possible. And obviously we'd be very pleased to see even larger numbers there.
So itemized on this table are the various budget elements. The paid marketing and additional staffing in support of the call center being the two largest. The balance are either communications efforts or Hicks and Softion development efforts, a revamp of our cost calculator, and efforts we're undertaking with the Unemployment Insurance Agency to get ready for the UI benefit. It's our understanding that federal CMS will be issuing grant requests, or they'll be entertaining grant requests in the near future. Based on our conversations with federal CMS, I'm not stating this as a guarantee from the feds yet, but it's our understanding that these grants would be in the approximate order of $1 million for state exchanges that went through the implementation or are going through the implementation. The grants will be able to cover retroactively expenses, will be able to retroactively cover expenses for this purpose. And so the ask before the A&F subcommittee in terms of spending is roughly $5.2 million for the full implementation of the American Rescue Plan. We can go into any of the line items should people wish. And we can come back to a discussion of the budget asks, but Carrie, if I could ask your, thank you, just bringing up the proposed, we are calling out the American Rescue Plan implementation costs on a separate line item, line 27. And Carrie, that should total the 6.2 if I'm not incorrect, yes. And on line 10 is a proposed offset if our colleagues at A&F are in agreement. Our proposal is that we would draw 5.2 million of the 6.2 from the CCTF as an offset to the savings being created there. But I'm happy to cover any additional questions regarding the ask itself or the proposed financing. And I don't think.
Well, Louis, what's the offset? Maybe my head's just been in pandemic world for too long.
Yes.
So you might just have to indulge me for a second.
Yes, so I'll ask Carrie and Edith for the very latest, but the federal funding is displacing very large amounts of state RAP for the connector care population. So what is the latest fiscal 22 estimate for CCTF savings, Carrie? Or Edith?
And Edith, you can confirm, but I believe it's around 81 million net of FFP for FY22. Edith, if you're
Sorry, I'm
speaking.
on mute. But Carrie, just because you got to make sure the committee understands what it is you're saying. So try to say it in kind of like, layperson. What you're saying is that because the federal government is expanding the program, they're picking up a larger share of money that previously the state would have been paying. And you think that's worth about $81 million.
That is correct, Rena. Thank you.
So, but that's not obvious in that budget spreadsheet that you just showed.
That's correct.
Or was it?
The budget exhibit just reflects our administrative budget. It does not reflect the budget for the CCTF, which is where the Connect to Care program is funded from.
Gotcha.
My point is that the request, of which $1 million, because you all are really good grant writers, will come in for one of the 6 million. That again, I don't have, you have the deck. The delta is net neutral to the state because of, I'm making sure I'm doing the same thing, Rena, is net neutral to the state because the inputs and outputs that come into the CCTF. Is that fair? I know Carrie's probably like, I can't believe she said it quite like that, but.
No, that's correct.
Yeah, okay. All right.
So if you go back to the spreadsheet then, if you don't mind. Okay, so so even though it looks like it's a net add in terms of what the state is sending over to the connector and to cover those expenses, what you're saying is it's not really an additional cost to the state.
That's correct. I think the way I would frame it is if we were planning an $81 million net savings to the state in fiscal 22, that becomes a $76 million net.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yep.
I'm good.
Any other discussion? I don't think we need a formal vote on that. We will need a vote on Thursday regarding the communications budget because of the size of it. So that would be a board vote coming on Thursday if the overall budget is acceptable.
I'm just struck looking at this and seeing the potential for outreach and how much it gets at some of the overall goals that were put forward for the strategic plan, not just around getting more people, like ensuring the uninsured, but also really thinking about sort of the racial equity work that was lifted up here as well. So it's just a really, not only on the merits of just the policy holistically is really exciting.
Thank you. And we will also use the communications campaign to create some reinforcing messaging around vaccination while we're at it.
Good.
Thank you, Louis.
Absolutely.
So, and just because I don't want the first time I make this comment to be in front of the whole board without saying it in the smaller group, and I think I said it at our last board meeting as well. I think all of this is absolutely fantastic. I am more than a little bit worried about what happens when the ARP funding expires. That is something that would keep me up at night, wondering, what we're going to do when that happens. So.
Yes. And right now the ARP funding is for 2 benefit years, 2021 and 2022. The president made a specific point of it in his address to Congress that he will be pursuing long-term extension, but that's by no means assured until it's assured. So,
Yeah, got it.
Yep. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you all for pulling this together. Is there anything else on this topic?
I would just suggest at the board meeting that you have that the revenue piece for the CCTF or something,
Yes,
Louis,
we will.
more than just the talk, but.
Thank you.
Right.
Thank
Totally
you.
agree. All right. So we're all set with this topic. Okay, just making sure. Okay, so the A&S subcommittee of the Health Connector is now going to entertain a motion to enter into executive session. This executive session is called under Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 21A3. And the purpose of this executive session is to discuss the strategy and options available to the Health Connector regarding rights and remedies under its contract with its call center vendor. The A&F subcommittee will not reconvene in open session following this executive session. Do I have a motion to convene the executive session?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Kathy, I think we need to do a roll call.
Okay,
Please.
sure, we'll do. Secretary Sutters,
Present.
Rena,
Yes.
Ruth,
Yes.
Dimitri,
Yes.
John.
Yes.
That's everyone.
Wonderful.
Okay, we'll pause as we go into executive session. Kathy, you'll